All right, let's dive into a really pivotal moment in the history of databases. We're talking about MongoDB 3.6. Now, this wasn't just some run-of-the-mill update. No, this was a release that fundamentally changed what a database could be, especially for modern developers. It really shifted the whole game. So let's set the scene. It's 2017. The way people were building software was changing, and fast. Microservices were everywhere, and developers needed to build these super dynamic, distributed apps. And for that, you needed more than just a box to park your data in. The old way? Yeah, that was just about simple storage and getting data back out. But the new demand was for something more. Developers needed reactivity, databases that could react to changes the second they happened. And they needed resilience, the ability to just keep on working, even when the messy, real world of distributed systems got in the way. And that was the real problem, right? These new, sophisticated applications were pushing the old database models to their absolute breaking point. I mean, think about it. Live dashboards, tools where people collaborate in real time, all those complex microservice setups, they all needed a database that was less of a static filing cabinet and more of a living, breathing part of the whole system. So this really brings us to the big question that the whole industry was wrestling with back then. How do you take a database, which is usually this kind of passive thing, and turn it into an active, intelligent partner? One that can handle real-time events and network hiccups without breaking a sweat. Well, MongoDB 3.6 was their answer to that question. Okay, so the first part of that answer was all about reactivity. To get there, MongoDB introduced a feature that was a total game changer. It was all about giving developers the power to actually listen to their data. And that feature was called change streams. So what are they? Well, to put it simply, it's a native API that lets your app literally subscribe to your data. It's like your app can just sit there and listen, and the moment something changes, an insert, an update, a delete, it gets notified. And the key phrase here, the one that changes everything, is in real time. This was a huge, huge leap forward. Now, what I love about this is how it shows the before and after. The old way was what we call polling. Your app had to constantly hammer the database asking over and over and over again, anything new yet? How about now? Anything new? It was so inefficient, a total resource hog, and honestly, just clunky. But with change streams, that whole idea got turned on its head. Now, the database tells you when something changes. That made the code so much simpler and finally let developers build truly event-driven systems the right way. And this is where you really see the impact. All of a sudden, building things that used to be a massive headache became almost easy. You want a live dashboard that updates the second the data changes? Change streams. You need your microservices to react to what other services are doing? Change streams. Building the next Google Docs with people typing at the same time? You got it. This one feature just unlocked a whole new world of possibilities. But being reactive was only half the story. What about resilience? What happens when things go wrong? Because in distributed systems, especially in the cloud, network glitches aren't a possibility, they're a guarantee. So MongoDB 3.6 rolled out its second hero feature, and this one was all about making sure your writes were basically unstoppable. They called it Retryable writes, and the magic word here is automatic. It's this mechanism built right into the database driver that makes sure your write operation happens exactly once, even if the network blips out for a moment. This took a massive burden right off the developer's shoulders. Let's just walk through how this works, because it's so beautifully simple. Your application sends a write operation. Then, boom, the network connection drops for a second. In the old days, that could mean lost data, or you'd have to write all this complicated error handling code. But now, the MongoDB driver just catches it, waits for the network to come back, and automatically tries the operation again until it goes through. Simple, powerful, and absolutely essential for reliable systems. Now look, change streams and retriable writes were definitely the headliners of this release, but they weren't the whole story, not by a long shot. MongoDB 3.6 was this really comprehensive package that just signaled a whole new level of maturity for the database. So yeah, it came out in November 2017 and was packed with other crucial features. For example, they added JSON schema validation, which finally gave developers a good way to enforce the structure of their data, something enterprises were screaming for. You also got the new Sessions API, which was the groundwork needed to make sure different operations were consistent with each other. And the aggregation pipeline got some major upgrades, making it way faster and more powerful to do complex data analysis right inside the database. So here's the main takeaway from all that. If you think about early MongoDB, the big selling points were speed and flexibility, while version 3.6 was all about adding a thick, solid layer of robustness on top of that foundation. This was really the moment the database grew up and was ready for the most serious, demanding jobs out there. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the reactivity, the resilience, the robustness, you start to see the true impact of this one release. It was way more than just adding a few features. It was about totally reimagining MongoDB's place in a developer's world. Because with all these changes, it just stopped being a place where you dump your JSON documents. It wasn't just a NoSQL database anymore. It had become a true platform for building modern applications, a platform that was reactive, resilient, and robust right out of the box. This release fundamentally changed how developers thought about MongoDB and what they believed they could build with it. But of course, the story doesn't stop in 2017. Progress never does, right? This whole transformation into a full-fledged platform was really just setting the stage for one of the most requested, most anticipated features in the database's entire history. And that is exactly where we're going to pick things up next time. We'll be talking about MongoDB 4.0 and the arrival of multi-document ACID transactions, the feature that really leveled the playing field with traditional relational databases. But for now, I just want to leave you with this idea. Reactivity isn't just a feature you turn on. It's a whole different mindset about how your apps and your data should interact. And with version 3.6, MongoDB didn't just add support for that mindset. It made it native.